Reddit. You come across a magic notebook that whatever you write and it will turn into reality. What's the first thing you write? Cancel the emoji movie. The hero we need. I will always be in possession of this book. Smart move. Make dick bigger. Has always been vertically challenged, so I'm sure my mate Richard would appreciate it. Holy shit. Jeremy Clarkson is on Reddit. The name checks out. Probably just a bunch of spelling mistakes and grammatical errors. Donald Trump left office for no reason. 6 Capuccino. Nice. I only went for 5 Capuccino. Not one person has mentioned that Scribblenauts somewhat uses this concept. Not everything works in Scribblenauts, though. Although it was a great idea, the puzzles felt like you were forced to create what the game wanted to solve them. I remember one mission was to feed a lion with his favorite food meat. So all you have to do is add the adjective meaty to anything, and you solved the puzzle. The lion had meaty cabbage for dinner. More pages. I don't wanna run out. I'm gonna have a lot to write. 1 million pages fill the room, and you die a horrible death from suffocation and paper cuts. Good. That was going to be my second entry. Me in real life. Today, I met my wife, followed quickly by several changes to how the laws of physics work. Hi there. The notebook summoned me. Read it for 4 years. I'd say the notebook just worked. I have the ability to tell all decoy snails from actual immortal snails. Edit whoa. First time I get to say thanks for the gold kind stranger. Decoy notebook. Foiled again. Knowing my luck, I'd write Born with the Tail is worth millions of dollars and has a 10-inch dick, and the damn book would turn me into a Kentucky Derby winner. At least you'd have a big dick and spend the rest of your life banging hot horses to make the next Kentucky Derby winner. I'm pretty sure they do it artificially. He would only get to bang a jar. The floor is lava. Well, there goes billions of people. Good luck managing the world. Holy crap. Depends on what the floor is. There are a lot of floors in this world. Maybe there's a floor deep down in a mine somewhere that becomes lava. The 5th floor of that tall skyscraper where Mike works. Obviously I would destroy the Horcrux immediately. You should never trust something if you can't see where it keeps its brain. Little did we know, J.K. Rowling hates cloud computing. We found her secret account. Well, first of all, there are a few safety precautions I would have to write down. The notebook can never be taken from me. I will always know where the notebook is. No one but me can use the notebook. The notebook is indestructible. The notebook will never run out of pages to write on. I will always be able to summon a pen to write in the notebook with. I can never be harmed or restrained against my will by anything or anybody. Then the real fun could begin. I will always know where the notebook is. I can summon the notebook back to me from wherever it currently is. Might be a better alternative here. The notebook is no longer a physical object and transfers its ability to alter reality to me personally. The power itself will remember the clauses I put into effect and cannot be undone except by my willful desire. Willful is defined as my expressed wish, either verbally or non-verbally, given by my own free will. I'm incapable of harming myself unintentionally with the power of the notebook, and any unforeseen consequences from using this notebook will not activate, and the knowledge of how I may harm myself will be expressed to me. How self-harm could occur. Confirmation will be required if I do not wish to make any additional changes to my wish. Furthermore, the power of the notebook gains a rudimentary intelligence and is able to review my knowledge and experiences, including cultural experiences, to review the wording of my wishes and be able to interpret what I actually mean rather than the literal interpretation. In the event that I make a wish too vague that even I don't know what I mean, the notebook power will request clarification or further review. This intelligence is non-sentient and will never desire or request emancipation, and will make no attempt to communicate to me unless stated expressly otherwise. Half thought out or incomplete wishes will be ignored until I make a wish in an ethical capacity, which requires no further explanation, as the notebook power now knows precisely what I mean. I'd get a lawyer to draft out clauses for me. This magical notebook is now obsolete. All magical properties are now transferred directly to my mind. I can now will things into existence, alter reality, etc. All wishes will come with an "Are you sure you want to proceed?" safety question. Also, wish previews are a thing. Human beings can fly. Despite rarely purchasing a lottery ticket, Vasileskog and his wife won the recent Powerball drawing of $300 million. He then surprised the world by making a new type of prosthetic leg, capable of all the motion and feeling of a normal leg. After making a pair for himself, he released the design to the world as open source. Why doesn't Vasileskog just retcon history to have never lost legs? Considered that, but this way, all leg amputees are helped, not just me. True, and very nice of you. But couldn't you have also just said humans have the ability to regenerate lost limbs as well as nerves and spinal cords? You'll have basically solved all major injuries that are immediately survivable and helped all paralyzed people, plus freak out the world by this sudden development. I pick up my pencil and slowly begin to create the complex lines and points of my idea. The curves, so beautiful and supple, caused goosebumps to ripple across my skin. The straight lines, how they form sharp, defined corners, causing my brow to sweat. I place a dot and revel in its immense beauty. A few more charismatic straight lines, a quick erase, and finally my masterpiece is complete. Now, I wait for it to come true. Slowly, a creature begins to crawl out from the book. His supple curves and manly defined features cause my heart to skip a beat, and his sharp pencil-drawn jaw opens. He takes a breath and says what is on his uniquely beautiful mind. Mihoimanoi. First things first, I'd remove my reliance upon the object itself. So I'd write that the powers granted by the book can now be used by me at will. Then you have to work in your monkey paw clause where wishes can go wrong. So you write something to the effect of these powers can only ever be used by me, result in an outcome that I desire, and cannot be negatively influenced in any way. Now that you're immune from any shenanigans and have full control over the powers to do anything, you destroy the book so that you're secure in your power and render yourself a god. Well, you've got to be careful with this sort of artifact. It's almost certainly a monkey's paw sort of item that will grant wishes in the worst possible way. So, draft up a first wish that forces the artifact to grant wishes in the way they were meant by the writer, without malicious unintended side effects or follow-on effects that would be considered bad in any way by the wisher, no causing death or physical psychological harm. Basically, after that, wish that there was always at least one more blank page in the back of the book, either via magical pages or through an expanding spine, so you'd never run out of wish room. Finally, some tests. Low grade, very specific stuff, like I wish a pebble of igneous stone, weighing precisely 100 grams, of the sort commonly found on our planet would materialize on the sidewalk in front of insert street address here 20 minutes relative to my frame of reference. After I finish this sentence, then get some good distance from that area, wait 20 minutes, then go find the pebble, pick it up with tongs, and test it thoroughly. No radiation, no contact poison, nothing harmful about it, etc. Ramp up tests to larger items, set up recording equipment to see how such materialization occurs, and have future tests specify the same method of materialization to avoid unintended changes, consequences that could have detrimental effects. After sufficient testing to determine that materialization of physical objects could be done without harm, and that the monkey's paw aspect of the artifact had been neutralized effectively, never existed in the first place, use it specifically for that purpose alone. If other effects are needed in the future, sufficient testing wish drafting must be done to minimize chances for unfortunate outcomes. Edit readability. Mum is completely cured of cancer with no further treatment required, and everyone I know struggling with mental health overcomes it and takes all the good opportunities that come their way. Edit. Thanks for all the kind comments. Sorry to hear about your mum. Hope everything works out okay. Happiness. A closet filled with 20 million in cash. Today I won the lottery. To make sure it works, and also, money will solve a buttload of my current problems. followed by my brother and his wife's IVF operation will be successful, and there will be no complications. Just a healthy child of whatever gender they actually want. Today I won the lottery. Instructions unclear. 3 numbers matching. 25 winnings. Half-Life 3 confirmed. That my mum would knock on my front door, very much alive and well, and get to meet her grandson. Whenever I drive, the other vehicles magically disappear off the roads. Time machine. And on this day the population of the world came together in everlasting peace and prosperity for all. Your life is rewinded to your childhood, yet you retain all of the knowledge and wisdom you've learned in life. You get to start over. This time, you won't screw it up. My son can walk, talk, and eat like other typical 5-year-olds. On the other hand, part of me would want to write everyone thinks a little boy who can't talk, walk, and eats with a feeding tube is the coolest thing ever. Edit quotes. Edit 2 wow. Thanks for the love. I appreciate the honest comments from other parents, non-parents, and the comments from people admitting they'd be terrified if they had a child with any issue. It's totally okay to say, holy shit, I would not be able to do that, because it's ducking hard. My son's condition chromosome deletion is unable to be diagnosed in utero, and is not an inherited condition from myself, nor my husband. It just happened. But what's funny, I said the same thing when I heard of others having kids with any issue. Oh my god. That poor mother. I just can't imagine. I could not do it. There's no way. On and on. My son had open heart surgery before he was 2 months old. He had his feeding tube placed not long after. He has been hospitalized 45 times, usually for a few days each time. He's been to 4 different specialty hospitals in 4 states across the US. I know more about the medical field than I ever thought possible. Really, I was an art major. I won't lie, I fell apart when we were told right after his birth. But what came out on the other side? A better person. I like myself so much more now. And the biggest gift my son has given me: perspective. It's shocking what perspective can do in someone's life. He is a gift. And yes, days can be rough. I'm tired a lot, and some days I want to stay under the covers. But what I've been given in return is so beautiful. I guess my point in all of this is don't ever assume. Don't assume it was something that could have been helped, or that it's all misery, doom and gloom. And never assume a person with any physical or mental difference is unhappy, or doesn't want the same things their peers want. My son is just a little boy that loves his big sister, his dog, playing in water, bubbles, tiny desk concerts. He literally knows how to use the remote to find it on Roku. And Curio's George. He loves to laugh. He loves life. And when anyone meets him, they are forever changed. I guess I just needed to say that. Oh. To those that think I could never, you can. You are stronger than you think you are. I'd write in there is no such thing as magical notebooks, just to test the paradox capacity. Everyone on Earth will know and accept the truth about the origins of the universe, the world, and life. Whatever this truth may be, I just think it would be good for everyone to know the truth, and to be on the same page. I'm happy. I read something similar, based around a reimagining of Cinderella. Can't post sources, it links to Facebook page. This is by E. Yudkowsky. The fairy godmother glowed and sparkled like the sun seen through 36 layers of faceted glass, lighting up the grass beneath her feet and the nearby tree like a church floor lit by a stained glass window. Not even those bright flowing colors could illuminate the dull grey rags worn by the scrubbing girl, or the streaks of ash covering her skin. But the light blazed in the scrubbing girl's eyes. Hope was in them. For the first time in years. One wish, and one wish only. The fairy godmother was smiling brightly. Just say the word, and I'll make you a carriage, and horses, and a coachman, and the most beautiful dress you ever saw. It'll only last until midnight. The fairy godmother winked at her. But you can do a lot in one night. If you hurry. Would anyone really use their one wish just for that, for a dance at the ball, and a dress that only lasted until midnight? The scrubbing girl shut her eyes and thought, Even if the magical part of the wish couldn't last past midnight, she might wish to be transported to the place where her truest love could be found. Or wish for all the justices and every person of her city to know her father's true testament and how her stepmother had cheated it. The magical knowledge might vanish come midnight, but they'd remember having known it. She could wish doves to descend from heaven, fall upon her stepmother and stepsisters and pluck out their eyeballs. Even if the doves were magic, the wounds would stay. The scrubbing girl shook her head quietly to herself. She was a good enough person not to do that. If not so good a person as to not even think it. And she wouldn't waste her one wish. They didn't deserve that much power over her story. Her father had taught her to read before he died, and she'd read from her father's collected books when her stepmother wasn't looking. Even the esoteric books, the dangerous ones, the tomes the church might have burned. A fairy's power was strange and vast, but limited. A fairy wish couldn't make literally everything better, not even for a single night. There were kingdoms beyond the kingdom, and worlds beyond the world, and a fairy's wish couldn't change so much, not even temporarily, but so long as it didn't change too much at once, and didn't last too long. She could have very nearly anything briefly. Going to the ball might not be as stupid a wish as it sounded. Fairy suggested wishes were like that, according to the books, with surprising effects. Maybe she could seduce the prince before midnight, and the prince would fall in love with her, and stay in love even after her bright dress vanished, and was replaced with rags. Then she would be a princess, and someday a queen. She would rule the kingdom wisely, and many folk would benefit thereby. That could be her destined story. She was probably already part of that story. The fairy tale was happening all around her. The handsome prince's ball, and the scrubbing girl left behind. There were many histories that recorded things like that. As the prelude to a fairy intervention, the fairy godmother suggested wish might not just give her one night at the ball. It could lead to her very own happily ever after. So the question just was she content with that story, the one already being enacted around her? The fairy spun tale that had given her this fairy wish. There was parchment in her father's study, and ink, and her father had taught her writing. You could do a lot in just one night, if you hurried. Cinderella opened her eyes, and within them was a fire of 1,000 scrubbed out hearths. I want, Cinderella said, to change my story. Fairy godmother, until midnight of this night I wish to know the road I must take to find the center of all things, and the secret for making changes. I'm giving the book a title. Off to be the wizard. Politicians have to work for everyone, not just their campaign contributors. People drive the speed limit and use their turn signals. Nice one. First of all, I would write so I can find myself in Bahamas on a beach, with 2 beautiful women bringing me a fruit drink. That way I can better think of what to write next.